Blue one.
Remember, that's,
No, just put it in the
that's
trash.
the cost.
Just put it in the trash.
We're not in session, are we?
No. That's live, so we probably are.
Is this it? Pretty sure.
That's it.
I can say it again.
Feel free to have minutes if you want.
All right, let's call the meeting of the Board of Public Works to order on March 28th, 2019. Diane, could you please call the roll?
Mayor Duchess,
Here?
Commissioner Ackerman,
Here.
Commissioner Pappas,
Here?
Commissioner Moriarty,
Here.
Commissioner Tease.
Here. All right, is there, before we go to the motion to approve the agenda, we do have some people from the Sculpture Symposium who are going to present us prospective locations for this year's sculptures. And they're way, way down on the agenda, way near the end. And so I'm suggesting that we move them up on the agenda to the next, right after public comment so that they can make their presentation and take off. So with that amendment,
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
discussion. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Is there a motion on the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes of the Board of Public Works meeting of February 28th, 2019.
Discussion?
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Public comment. Is there anybody from the public who would like to address the board? I don't see anyone. So now, based on the amendment to the agenda, we will go to administration item number D, which is the Sculpture Symposium presentation. So Ms. Moriarty, I think, is here to make that presentation.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. If you don't know who I am, I'm Gail Moriarty. I actually am a commissioned jeweler. My first job. I actually own the Picker Artist at 3 Pine Street. And I also am the president of our newly formed 501c3 Sculpture Symposium. On February 8th, I've got my 501c3 status from the IRS. So
Congratulations.
really excited. Thank you. It allows us to get more grant opportunities, and we're kind of standalone now, so. And everyone, I'm sure, knows about the symposium. I had brought some information for people, and some information I'd love to see everybody at the opening if you could come. So the 3 sites that we're talking about this year, the first one would be the Nashua River Rail Trail, the southwest quadrant. Do you have information about this, or do you want me to say?
They do have.
They do have
Yeah, we
information
have a
about this.
written-
Okay.
Now, just interrupt for a moment. Also, we'd like to recognize Alderman Jettie is present. So we do have a written letter which,
From Kathy sent a letter that showed all of the sites that have already been approved and then the new sites.
Yes.
Correct.
Great. So the first site we want to talk about is the Nashua River Rail Trail over by the Hudson border.
yeah, that'd be great.
So yes, we approve that one? Or
Could
how do
you
we
just-
do that?
Just talk us through each.
Just talk us through each one. Okay, I didn't know if we had read about that already. So the Nashua River Rail Trail is part of the extensive trail system through the southwest quadrant of Nashua over by Hollis. The rail trail itself extends 11.5 miles to the Air Mass area. The start of the Nashua River Rail Trail offers a number of sites around a pond adjacent to the parking lot and along the beginning of the highly used paved trail. We thought it would be a great location to have a sculpture. It's because it's on the Nashua River Rail Trail, accessible by foot from Dutton Lane, which is Depot Road. It's public space. Nashua City Site maintained by our wonderful Parks Department, I must say, and the Recreation Department. The size of the sculpture would be a larger linear site with it has a paved path, so we could put a nice sized sculpture there. It's not a toxic area, not wetlands. It has a rural neighborhood. It's not visually distracted from anything. Pedestrians can walk up, and cyclists and bikers can walk up around this sculpture, which would be very nice. And it's not visible to cars, but that's okay. It is handicapped accessible, which is very nice. People can go around, touch the sculptures. It's easy to get around the sculpture, and installation would be easy from where the location is. So we need the approval of the Board of Public Works to have opportunity to put a sculpture there. And any size, any range, any material would be okay there. And I guess any bases would work there, too. It is supported by Nick Caggiano, Parks and Rec Director. The Nashua River Rail Trail is a beautiful paved trail through the wooded area along the Nashua River. The site requested is near an entrance, but not so far away that as to not impact walkers and bikers. There's also a view of the Nashua River from the site, but it's not near any of the buffer areas. So we're looking to get approval to put that on as our approved list.
Okay. So we probably will act on them together, so maybe
Next
just give
one.
us a brief explanation on the other two.
So the next one that we were looking at would be the Constitution Plaza. So Constitution Plaza is a small city park in downtown Nashua. It contains a stone monument to the United States Constitution on the corner. The back of the stone are on the back by the stone are some trees, and further east is an open grassy area which would be suitable for a sculpture. It's on the corner of Main Street and Medical Center Drive. It's across the street from the Southern New Hampshire Medical Center. It is public space. It's 0.1 distance from City Hall. It would be a smaller sculpture we would place there. Not toxic, not wetland. It's the downtown area. It does not have visual distractions. It is visible to pedestrians. It's visible to cars. It is handicapped accessible. It's available to touch the sculptures in that area. Transport to the site is easy. Installation would be easy. Required approvals is from the Board of Public Works. And this is a small urban site and would be very visible from people passing by. And then the third location that we were hoping to get approval would be on the Broad Street Parkway, our wonderful Broad Street Parkway. The parkway is a 1.8-mile, 2-lane road from Broad Street to the Nashua Mill Yard. It offers several locations for enhancements with sculptures as welcoming to our downtown. And as we all know, it's very populated. So we were hoping to have 3 locations that we had identified earlier. All of them on the west side, because that's the side that people have can walk on the sidewalk and go up to the sculptures and touch them on that side of the road. We were thinking the other side would be too dangerous because people would cross the street to go see what's over there. So we were hoping to get on the sidewalk side. It is public space. We could put large sculptures there. There's a lot of room, we would think, for some large sculptures. Not toxic, not wetland. It's on the roadway. Does not have visual distractions. Is visible to pedestrians and to cars, and it's handicapped accessible. It's visible. It's easy to touch the sculptures. It would be easy to have transportation to the site. Easy to install, and we do need Board of Public Works approval for the third site as well. So those are the 3 that we're proposing this year.
Now, does anybody have any questions for Ms. Moriarty? Commissioner Pappas?
Just a comment, we didn't put you through that torture, even though we had the sites. We like the public to know where they're gonna be.
Thank you very much. Yes, very happy to do that. Thank you.
Commissioner Tease?
Mr. Mayor, I'd move to approve the proposed sculptural locations for the 2019 Sculpture Symposium.
Discussion? Commissioner Moriarty?
I was just curious,
Hi, Kevin.
I saw that Nick Caggiano, our superintendent, approved the Nashua River Rail Trail, but he didn't comment on the other 2 locations. Is there a reason why?
No, I suspect you may have just asked him about that particular
Probably
site.
Kathy has
But
been in
we're-
contact,
we
yeah.
are, Public Works is all set with the proposed locations.
Great. Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, the motion is to approve the request of the 3 locations. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
And the motion passes.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, I appreciate the opportunity very much.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks, have a good day.
All right, so now we will go back to the regular order to wastewater. Item A,
I'll move to approve the user warrants as presented.
discussion. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Motion passes. Item B,
Move to approve the purchase of a Fairbanks brand vertical solids handling from Hayes Pump Inc. of Concord, Massachusetts for the amount of $29,511. Funding will be through Department 169 wastewater fund, wastewater account category 71 equipment.
now, Mr. Boucher is here in case you have questions or comments.
Um,
Commissioner Pappas.
Maybe just to give a quick overview, just for, even though we have the information in our packets, for folks who might be watching. Thank you.
Dave Boucher, Nashua Wastewater Superintendent. Yeah, this is one of our 13 pump stations. We have 2 pumps within this pump station. One is a backup. And currently, we had one go down, and we had it sent out for servicing and found out that it's beyond, sometimes you can have them rebuilt. This one is beyond rebuilding. So this is a purchase to replace that one, the backup one. So currently, we are running on one pump for this pump station. So it's crucial that we have a backup. And this just, I know we're having our pump stations updated in 2 phases. This pump station is part of a second phase of upgrades, and this pump is consistent with the pump that's going to be used in the upgrade. So when the upgrade takes place, we still will be able to use this pump. It's the pump that was spec'd out to be in that upgrade, so.
Thank you.
Discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item C,
I'll move to approve, to approve the award of 3-year contract for a long-term management of wastewater biosolids from Resource Management, Inc. of Holden's, New Hampshire, in an amount not to exceed $1,500,050. Fundings through Department 169 wastewater fund, wastewater account classification 54, property services.
so could you give us a brief explanation regarding this?
Yes, this is a 3-year contract. When we remove solids from wastewater, we process it, we digest it, and currently we have a contract with a company. They take it out for beneficial reuse. It gets land applied at farms throughout New Hampshire and some places in Mass. So this is to continue that service. We're at the end of the original 3-year contract, so this would be another 3-year contract. And we opened it up to other companies. So the company that's we're seeking approval for is unfortunately the only company that bid this time around. The company we are using now, they submitted a non-bid bid because they felt moving forward they didn't have enough land to actually disperse our solids. So we're down to one company. There's not many companies that do this service.
Discussion or questions? Commissioner Ackerman?
Yeah. Thank you for that explanation, because that was kind of my question about what the land application requirements are. So the current contract expires when?
I believe it's July.
Okay.
Yep.
And,
30th.
and
June 30th.
obviously Casella has land requirements up and
yeah.
through then, is that?
They have the capability to finish off their contract with us.
And was the contract a 3-year contract in the past?
Yes, it was.
And was it approximately the same cost, 1.5 million?
Yeah, the original with the other company was 1.2, but we had to amend it to increase it 260,000. So it's about the same.
Okay.
This one's 1.5. With the amendment of the last contract, it was 1.47. So it's close.
Very good. Thank you.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I'll move to approve the contract with Wright Pierce of Thompson, Maine, in an amount not to exceed $409,900 for the construction of administration services for pump station upgrade Phase 1 project. Funding is through Department 169 Wastewater Fund, SRF Loan Activity Pump Station Upgrades Phase 1.
Discussion? Oh, well, why don't you give us an explanation on item D?
Okay, so we have the 13 sewer pump stations that pump liquid from different areas in town to the wastewater plant from a lower elevation to the gravity sewer. And we have 13, the first phase of the upgrades that went out covers 6 pump stations. So this is the engineering services to oversee that first phase of the project, the 6 pump stations that we're doing. And we picked the 6 most critical ones in need of upgrades for the first phase. And the pump stations will be, right now, they're very deep, 20 feet deep. They're in need of upgrades and bringing things above ground level, so some will have buildings on top, and rather than having to go down in the hole, the pumps will be at ground level. And 2 of them actually have buildings at the location, so the buildings will be rehabbed, along with the generators that are there.
Discussion?
Any questions?
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I'll move to approve the contract with the DeFleece Corporation of Dracut, Mass. in an amount not to exceed $3,469,550 for the construction of a pump station upgrades Phase 1 project. Funding through Department 169 Wastewater Fund, SRF Loan Activity Pump Station upgrades Phase 1.
Could you,
Yes, this is the project itself, the 6 pump stations that are being upgraded. So this is the construction phase. The 3 bids that came in, DeFelice was the low bid, and it was in line with the engineer's estimate. The engineer's estimate was 3.5 to 3.8 million. So this one came in below the low end of that scale, so we're happy about that.
Commissioner Tease?
Out of curiosity, is DeFelice Corporation related to Newport Construction?
I'm not sure. I can't
I think
answer that.
DeFelice owns Newport. Or different spelling?
No, so cousins? They're cousins, so, yeah.
Oh, but, okay. Just,
So
it was
the-
more
yeah,
curiosity than
The
anything
owner
else.
of Newport is cousins with DeFelice Corporation.
Thank you.
But the companies are not related, they're just.
Understood.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Gonna run the table, Tracy, or what?
You know,
Um,
I'll do
Next,
that. You can
engineering.
do the
And I
long
think
ones.
Ms. Gill is here, I presume, for engineering.
Correct.
So why don't you come up just in
I'll move to approve residential and commercial wastewater service permits and fees as submitted.
discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I'll move to approve drain layers license for N. Grassney Sons, Inc., 59 Jefferson Ave, Salem, Mass., in accordance with Nashua City Code 255-19, issuance of drain layers license.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I'll move to approve the following poll license petitions. PSNH number 12-1343, PSNH 12-1338, PSNH 12-1339, PSNH 12-1332, PSNH 12-1328, PSNH 1329. Am I repeating the numbers? I can't tell.
You want me to hand me the baton?
No, it's all right. PSNH 12-1330, PSNH 12-1333, PSNH 12-1335, PSNH 12-1315, PSNH 12-1310, PSNH 12-1284, PSNH 12-1287, PSNH 12-1304, PSNH 12-1298, PSNH 12-1274.
Could you do that motion again? I missed that.
Well, there's one that's worse here coming up, but
All right, any discussion on that?
Motion passes.
I did have a question, there's something I forgot to follow up. The poll license reminds me of it. Near White Oak, on, I don't know who's here from engineering, on Manchester Street near White Oak. I got a concern about a pole that's way too close to the street. It was someone who was, I think the director can appreciate teaching their kid how to drive, and they're looking at the pole really close to the road. And I've looked at the pole, and there are two of them that are so close that I'm like almost hitting the poles, like trying to figure out which pole she was talking about. But there are
okay.
two, right, if you're heading north on Manchester Street, you go past White Oak, there are two there that are like kind of dangerous close to the road.
Okay. We'll
So
look
I don't know,
into
I
that.
don't know how much power we have to move those.
Not much, but we certainly can make a request. Yeah. We can make a request.
Okay.
So I
They're
will-
very
I will do
close.
that.
I think
Okay.
that someone should take a drive-by.
Okay, absolutely, we'll do
And,
that.
and don't hit them trying to figure out which one is closer than the other, because they're both pretty close.
Okay.
And
You
this,
hear that, Andy? Okay. Is that it?
and this is Amy Gill, Ms. Amy Gill from engineering, in case people have not met her before. All right, the motion is to approve the poll license petitions. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Item D.
Move to approve the engineering contract with Stan Tech Consulting Services, Inc. of Burlington, Massachusetts, in an amount of $28,900. Department 160 Admin Engineering Fund Bond Activity Paving.
Ms. Gill, would you mind explaining what Stantec is going to be doing?
Amy Gill, engineering. So as you probably are aware, Stan Tech Consulting Services has been the engineer on board, has helped us through the recent evaluation of all the pavement for our large paving program. They go through an evaluation, looking at the pavement, giving it a score, which we call PCI number, Pavement Condition Index, and that helps us rate the sewers as to which ones are the priority to be paved for the given year, and then looking into the future as well. So the purpose of Stantec now is we have the information from previous years, and based on, it's necessary to base the roads practically every 3 years, because sometimes the deterioration of a road isn't linear. Depends a lot on the type of winter you have. As you're aware, this season in particular, there was a lot of moisture, rain, freeze, thaw, rain, snow, and the potholes have increased substantially on certain roads. So the purpose of hiring Stantec is to do that annual evaluation. They'll be looking at a third of the city each year in order to update their PCIs for any given road. And this would be the first year of the contract, to look at a third of the roads for $28,900.
Commissioner Pappas?
I was very impressed with these folks. I think they did a great job evaluating our roads, and I think it's it's a very good investment. I hope you guys have enjoyed working with them, because I think
Yes,
they're
very helpful.
Commissioner Ackerman?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick question. I happened to be asked recently about the pavement schedule. So I went out to our own website, and I see that there is a pavement schedule out there still listed for 2018. And that the 2019 schedule was about to be posted at some point in the future, unless I missed it. Does this service need to be completed before the 2019 schedule is posted?
Want me to do it?
The 2019 is posted. In fact, I think that the leftover from 2018 is not, is it posted now? Okay, everything should be posted now.
Well, I was out
Mr.
there
Arnold.
yesterday, and maybe the nomenclature didn't change, because it says 2018 pavement schedule. So
Oh,
if something happened
okay,
from
we'll look at
yesterday till
that.
today.
We'll look into
Yeah,
that.
just,
The 2019 was on there, but,
fair enough.
yeah, we'll
That-
make sure.
That's fine. Maybe it wasn't on the front page that I looked at.
Okay.
So my second question is, does this need to be done for the 2019? It does not.
No.
This would be for 2020 and beyond?
That's correct. That's for
Yes.
programming in the future years. Every year we have almost a 3-year look,
Okay.
but it can change based on deterioration of roadways over any given year.
Thank you.
Discussion?
I have a question.
Yes, Alderman Jettie.
So people who think that their road is deteriorated to the extent where it needs work, can they request, can they lobby you, can they put in a request that their road be looked at?
Well, fortunate for me, I'm just representing the whole department, and it would be, yes, you can call the office and talk to Lauren or someone else, but yes, you can make that request.
We do get a lot of questions about that. Well, why are you doing this road instead of this road? Unfortunately, we still have a number of streets in Nashua that need to be paved. So we try to not just pick out of a hat, so to speak. We try to really follow what the plan that Stantec has provided for us. And sometimes it looks like we're paving a street that may be better than another, and that may be true because we're trying to save it from getting to full depth reclamation, and we may put off another street that needs full depth reclamation just because it's less expensive to keep it from getting to that point. So we definitely, sometimes we will see streets deteriorate over the winter. Ridge Road is one of them that really took a beating this past winter. So we'll try to do something in those cases, but we will certainly will listen if residents have concerns, but we do try to stick to the schedule for that reason, just because there's just so many that need to be paved at this point. So,
And-
but we're making a lot of progress, so,
The valuation's based on traffic and volume and
yeah.
those,
And
there's a lot of
also
factors that
utility
come into
work, there may
play.
be utility work that can't be completed on a particular street, so that we put it off for that reason, so, yeah.
A lot of factors.
But certainly requests could be made.
Commissioner Pappas.
Just a couple of questions. So reclamation is when the road is so far gone, we have to kind of strip it down. So I did get a question on one road that definitely needs to be reclaimed. Are those folks put at the bottom of the list just because, I can't recall off the top of my head, I don't have the Stantec report with me. Are you less likely, if you have a road that needs to be reclaimed, are you gonna be, if it's probably not that busy of road, are you gonna be towards the bottom of the list?
No,
guess.
not necessarily, but we do try to focus on those streets that haven't gotten to that point, because that treatment is far more expensive than getting to a street before it gets to that point. So that is something that Stantec takes into consideration when they're looking at streets and choosing the streets that we should do. So they'll give us a list, and then we look at that list and determine whether we can we work with utilities to see what we can, what they can get done, and then we sort of choose from there what streets we can get done in the paving program. But we do try to stay very close to the list that Stantec gives us every year.
Okay, but even if you're listed for a reclaim, it doesn't mean you're gonna be up on the list.
Correct. There'll be a mix there. That's
Okay.
not to say that all streets that need to be reclaimed are on the bottom by any stretch, but
Okay, because I may say, because I did it, I got a question on one particular street, and I explained that, like, when we have requests like that, we can't necessarily go by honoring that. but-
right.
So I should send,
If you tell me the
up-
street, we can sort of check and see where it is.
Barley Street is opposed to road,
Barley Street?
is
Okay.
opposed to road.
Okay.
And then, I guess my
get you-
other, I just wasn't sure when, Alderman Jettie got here, but if the city has some of those extra, reports from Stantec, it was really quite they did quite a job. I didn't know if we might have, to be able to send via email, either that presentation, or if we have extra hard copies of their in paving, the index to the roads and how they come up with the index. It was quite a thing.
The presentation that they
Yeah.
did, yeah, sure.
I
can
mean, I
send
don't know
that
if
around
he's
again.
interested, but I think it was, I was very impressed with those folks. And, when I got that report, I saved it, because it was really, I think that was really good work. I think that was money well spent.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion passes.
I'll move to approve the following changes to sewer connection fees. Eliminate the betterment fee and connection fee. Increase the entrance fee to $1,450 per single-family residential unit and 20 each increment for commercial peak flow. Adjust the entrance fee annually using the 20 city construction cost index. Eliminate the requirement for the city to repair or replace the sewer connections for 1 and 2 family homes.
Discussion?
I-
Commissioner Pappas?
I just wonder if, did we, was our last meeting when we went into that, was that recorded or not? If it might be worth going into here. Were people able, I don't know if
We
people
recorded
saw that or
didn't we?
not.
We did, yes,
Oh, okay, all right, so it's, okay.
we did, and we have minutes as well. Are those posted?
No.
Yeah, okay. But we do, is the audio up?
Commissioner Moriarty?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So reviewing this, I'm in favor of the first three, but number 4, eliminate the requirement for the city to repair. I don't think we made as a board a decision on that. There were 2 options on the table, and I didn't think we actually made a decision on that. So it looks like the division wants to get out of the repair work completely?
That was and I'll let Amy speak to that, but that was what the city engineer wanted. Unfortunately, he's at a funeral right now, but, so he can't be here, but that was their preference.
Which would also be a change of ordinance, right? Because it is an
It would
ordinance.
need to
city-
change the ordinance as well, yeah.
Well,
All of this actually would
It's-
require changing the
I
ordinance.
think, Kevin,
Right.
I think there were just two or three of us left there. That's why we did, you're right.
Yes.
right, because, right.
Go ahead.
Yes.
So at the end of the meeting, I think that was part of the discussion, I can't remember when the commissioners and the mayor had to leave. But the 4th item that we're discussing, which as Director Photo said, they all require ordinance change. So this is just, number 4 would just be part of that as well. As we mentioned, the city currently by ordinance, let me give a little bit of history since we're here. Up to 1995, the city always did the repairs for all properties in the roadway. They're doing that too expensive. 1995, they put in the ordinance that only 1 and 2 family dwelling units would have the opportunity for the city to pay the work for a cost of $600. It was originally lower than that, but it had been bumped up. And that cost for $600 was, the purpose of the money was to pay for the performance of the city's, of the Division of Public Works Street Department to perform that work. It was supposed to equal the cost of the city's cost incurred during construction. However, that fee has not been increased at all, the $600. Currently, it's estimated that the street department, their costs up to a dig about 8 feet, that's about how deep they can go, costs the department about $3,500. As we discussed during the previous workshop, that by ordinance, the property owners own the pipe from the building to the sewer main. And we feel, as a division, that you really have no control over what goes into that sewer. We talked about the items perhaps that may be blocking a sewer, fat and grease that may be disposed within that pipe, and roots, trees that are built over, things that may be put in there. Sometimes toilet in particular can be used as a trash can, and items put in there clogging their pipes. So the city, right now, what we're looking to do is to change the ordinance to make the property owners responsible for the pipe, all property owners be responsible for the pipe from the building to the sewer main. And that's what we're requesting, to take that out of the ordinance.
Commissioner Pappas?
They are responsible for that now, though, anyway, correct?
Except the exception is 1 and 2, 1 single-family dwelling unit and 2 dwelling unit properties can pay a fee and have the Division of Public Works do it.
But they're still responsible for paying a fee.
They are responsible for paying the fee. The current fee is $600. We estimate in-house it's about $3,500. And for those urbanized, older portions of the city where the sewer is very deep, deeper than 8 feet, we have to contract out. So it can cost the city up to $25,000 to do a dig sometimes to replace that portion of the pipe in the right-of-way.
And if, just for the background of people who might be watching, when was the last year that they changed the fees?
19.
I thought it was 8.
The entrance fee was 1972.
Okay.
The $600 went up in 1982. It started as $200, it went to $400, and 1982 was $600.
Okay, one of my concerns, and I think that someone else was concerned about the same thing, was that we would get people who are qualified to do this. And that was that there are contractors who do it and when we approve drain layers license. Am I correct in that?
Correct. By ordinance, anyone working in the roadway laying a pipe is required to have a drain layers license.
Okay. So there are qualified people that can do it and they're not gonna wreck the city sewers?
Correct. They have to be approved by the city, actually through the Board of Public Works to get their drain layers license, correct.
Commissioner Moriarty?
So the process now, when the street department does a repair, who goes out and gives the final inspection?
Let me take a step back before we get to the street department. So if a single-family property or two-family unit property would like this, this performance of work by the Division of Public Works, there's a whole approval process that has to go on. They have to provide to us proof that there is a problem with that pipe in the right-of-way. That usually requires a video inspection. We review the tape. Sometimes the opinion can be subjective. Property owners hear some statements from the contractor that they should hire to inspect their pipe that sometimes may be misleading to them. We review them and we feel that the pipe is in not need of a replacement or a repair. Sometimes the distance of the problem where it's located, where the property line is, and where the problem is. Sometimes a property owner may have that contractor come in to try to clear their line, and they push the problem somewhere else onto that piece of pipe that's in the right-of-way. So there's a lot of issues because it's so subjective as to whether or not that pipe needs to be replaced. And we're talking from the property line to the sewer main, which typically is in the center of the street.
So, again, if the city's doing it, the street department, then
Oh,
who
I'm sorry.
does the final inspection of that connection?
We do, per ordinance, the city engineering department has sewer inspectors that go out, not only for work done by the street department, but we also have it with the works contracted in the street. In the street department, they oversee their own work, but, we can look at it as well.
So when it's done privately, then the city has an inspector who will
Yes,
approve that final
that's correct.
work.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Commissioner Tease?
With respect to the elimination of the requirement of the city repairing or replace sewer connections for one and two family homes, is that consistent with other towns and cities?
Yes, during this process, we had done a review of what communities, similar in size, we tried to be similar in size, as they were doing
So
locally.
we're on par.
Pardon me?
Okay, we're on par with other cities.
Right.
Thank you.
Oh, I was going to give you a list.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. No, I just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
I remember the matrix that you gave us. I just didn't remember. Perhaps I left the meeting early and didn't see that.
Oh,
page
no, so
either.
there's a list of local ones,
Thank you.
yes.
Commissioner Ackerman?
Thank you. So Amy, if this moves forward the way it's being presented this evening, who then would have the responsibility of looking at the video evidence that's being presented from the resident?
It would be the homeowner's responsibility and whatever contractor they hire. They necessarily, if they didn't want to, they wouldn't have to take the step of getting a video It would be up to them to decide.
Part of my concern is through the meeting that we did have approximately 3 or 4 weeks ago, is that I think the expertise is there from the city, because it's part of the, whether it be on the homeowner's property or not, it's part of the infrastructure that's underground and not visible. I'm concerned that if we, and if I remember correctly, Mr. Dukraine said there was only about 15 instances in the past 12 months where the city has had to go out and do something to this effect. Is that rough order of magnitude accurate?
It's approximately probably 15, yeah.
Okay. But I mean, if we just start then relying on third-party organizations to be responsible, aren't we kind of exposing the residents of Nashua to be exposed to unscrupulous business dealings where it's gonna cost them more money, number one, and then people are just gonna, you know, it's gonna be like anything else. I'm just asking, plain devil's advocate.
Well, it would be up to them to find a qualified person to do the work. Again, it would have to be a drain layer that did the work in the right-of-way. So they would be able to pick off the list provided by the city of the qualified drain layers for that given year, is how they would find that person to do the work in the right-of-way.
Okay, thank you. Would it be possible to continue to have the city to be responsible, but to increase that dollar fee to an average cost that you've seen over the last 15 instances, as opposed to what we're being presented tonight?
I think the hardest part is the subjectiveness of it, because the way it's worded in the ordinance, people come to us and feel that they're entitled to get their pipe replaced. It does frequently become a difference of opinion as to what the problem is with that portion of the pipe. Because again, they're already hiring a contractor, and they may hear words or be given incorrect information. For instance, some people may feel roots, which are a main culprit as to blocking this pipe, this service connection, is a reason to remove that section of the pipe. But that is in fact a operation and maintenance issue. And unfortunately, sewer service connections is one of those items that belongs to a property that, because it's underground, people don't think about it, nor do they maintain it. And through the years, things may progress, and some people feel that the easiest way is just to take it out and replace it. So it becomes very subjective.
In the roots case, you can clean out, you know, you can auger out the pipe, and the pipe's still good.
Right, and it's, but however, my experience is that that's a temporary fix. Is that somewhat accurate?
Well,
Does it
I'm
need-
no expert, 5 years? I mean, it's not like it's a week, you know, it might be.
No,
5.
I get it. I have been involved very recently with somebody, a resident of Nashua, that's having a bad experience. They've gone out 6 times to, at least a half a dozen times, to clean their roots, and they're still having a problem. And it's moving forward with the city taking responsibility. As a resident, I'd be a little concerned about this because there's, like you said, it's very subjective. I'd have a lot of anxiety if I had to do this all on my own without having an entity like the city of Nashua involved with the process. So I don't particularly care for number 4.
Commissioner Pappas?
I really appreciate the questions asked by Commissioner Moriarty and the vice chair here. Commissioner Ackerman, I'm trying to think, we were all there, Commissioner, and I actually had real concerns about this, and I felt at ease when I heard drain layers were vetted by the city, but hearing this, I really don't feel comfortable moving forward with number 4. Were there 2 or 3 of us there at the end of the meeting? There were 3 of us, right, Commissioner Ackerman, Commissioner Moriarty?
Yes, my recollection is similar to Commissioner Moriarty, is that we're going to go back and have dialogue internally and make a suggestion to us. and I thought we were gonna get that, was my recollection.
Okay, because I feel very I can't support number 4. That's how I'm feeling. Because of, because of the subjectiveness, and if we charge what it costs, so be it. You know, we give out an awful lot of drain layers licenses, I think. So,
Most likely outside of this 1 and 2 residential.
I just do want to be clear, though, on one thing. The discussion almost sounds like the street department's doing all of these, and they're not. Street department does very few of these, because for a couple of reasons, we don't have the time, number one. Number two, many of them are too deep for us to handle. So a lot of these are being done by contractors, and it's a significant cost to the city and to the wastewater fund. So
I
point that out.
feel, I really feel uncomfortable with number 4 now. And, there might be 15 a year, and I think there are people who, through the wastewater fund, have helped subsidize others that have kind of been in the same situation. And I don't know, I'm really hesitating at number 4. I thought it was a great meeting. And again, I think we had enough to vote on the whole thing right then and there. We did have 3 people left, but I really feel differently about number 4 today, after the questions from the vice chair and from Commissioner Moriarty.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask, I'd like to, if we could, table this whole motion until Engineer Dukrin comes back, if that's okay. Do you agree with that, Amy? He
that
feels
would be
very
fine.
strongly about this, so I guess before the board takes action, if you wouldn't mind if we table this until Engineer Dukrin's back at our next meeting?
Move to table?
Okay, thank you.
Discussion? All those in favor of the motion to table, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Gill. Now we're under administration.
I'll move to approve the agreement with Louis Fish and Allison Hurd of 1 Hutchinson Street regarding the moving of their fence. And if I could, I'd speak to it. I think, I really appreciate all the work staff has done in trying to get this agreement through, and I can appreciate how much work it's been. And I'm glad we've come to an amicable solution.
Discussion? Commissioner Moriarty?
Yeah, just not to spend a lot of time on this, but there was additional information, I guess, sent today to the board members, 2 letters from abutters or neighbors
Yes.
who opposed what we're about to do. So I don't know if the other board members had a chance to read those 2 letters, but I kind of wish we had that ahead of time, but
There, Warren just left, but I think, Andy, I think both of the folks that you spoke with are both in favor of the 3 feet. That was my understanding.
Andy Patrician, Assistant Director. Yeah, we personally met with those residents to talk about their concerns, and they were very open about what their concerns were, and that's why the letters were written, so.
But they were both okay with moving the fence 3 feet?
Yes, they were fine with the 3 feet option. Just cutting off the corner, they didn't feel was gonna be the way to go, just because it still would have been too close to the road. If the roads were icy, with it being back another feet, I believe that'll give you almost a full 9 feet off the road, which would be fine.
And when we received those letters, we had originally spoke with Mr. Fish and Ms. Hurd and given them 2 options. One was the corner and one was moving the fence back 3 feet. Once we received the feedback from the neighbors, then we took the other option off the table and said that the only option would be either to move it back 3 feet or the 8 feet out of the city right away. And so that's how we came to this agreement. And those residents were okay with that.
okay, just to be clear, on the letter that one of the neighbors wrote, he suggested 6 feet was what he was looking for, so
That
that,
was written, in February. It was a month ago.
Okay, I know, but I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
resident is okay with the 3 feet, when in writing, he said 6 feet. He wanted 6 feet.
No, both of them were fine with it. When we discussed it with them, they were fine with the whole fence being moved 3 feet. And the reason that all came about was they had watched the public meeting when they were told you could either, you had the two options. So at that point, they felt that they needed to come forward because they had a problem with the, just cutting the corner.
Okay.
I mean, I'd like to see it move back the full 8 feet. And so with engineer Dukran. However, we tried to compromise with the residents and, come up with a solution that wouldn't be as big a hardship for them. So that's why we did the 3 feet.
Commissioner Pappas.
Just one observation, and I appreciate everyone's work. I really appreciate your work, and, the city attorney really took a look at this. But one of the things when I was talking with the Director of Public Works, I said, well, what is the setback? And she said, well, it's different in different parts of the city. And we do have a very diverse layout of the city. And I just would hope that we would put somewhere, or to tell people where you find that. I mean, I have no idea. So there, you said it's 8 feet?
It's 8,
Okay.
yep, roughly 8 feet.
But in other places, it's different? Is that, I just
can
want
be.
it very clear, okay.
It can be. The city right
So-
away is different in different areas.
So where
you're
would
right.
people find that information if they're planning stuff? I mean,
They
that's-
can certainly call us and we can let them know. A lot of that information is available on GIS, right through the city's website as well.
Okay, because.
I might be able to give a better answer to
Okay.
this. If you're gonna put up a fence abutting the city's right-of-way, current ordinance require you to seek approval from the city engineer, and he will tell you exactly where it has to go.
But how do you,
That's
is
it's
it on the
currently
city
in the
website?
ordinance.
Okay,
It's the law in this city, and the city engineer has to provide that information.
okay. And is it posted on this, you may not know, does anyone know if it's posted in a good spot on the city website?
Well, we just approved the fence permit, so we'll have that, and that has that information in it. So hopefully that will offer some additional assistance for residents in the future.
And the entire code of ordinances is searchable by keyword. It's on the website. If you go to the ordinances and you type in fence, this comes up.
Okay, thank you, I really appreciate that.
And of
Thank
course,
you.
the fence company should tell people
Well,
about this. I mean, come on, they don't know? I mean, it's not accurate.
No, I'm really glad it is that easy to find, because I'm a little challenged as far as, searching websites and that kind of thing, and the fence comes up. That's a really good thing to know. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Ackerman.
Sure. Two things. The first is the application that we approved a month or so ago, is that now implemented in terms of the ordinance that the city?
That is going, right now they're working on incorporating that into the current ordinance, yes.
Okay, all right. And my second question is, in regards to the letters that were listed here, sent to the Assistant Director, did the City of Nashua respond in writing in any way to those? Or was this simply just a verbal conversation?
It was just a verbal conversation. We were contacted, so I made contact with the resident, and they wanted to meet, so we met out there, and at that point, both the residents were there to discuss the issue with me and Lauren Byers. So we heard their concerns, and, but there was no written
And
response to
then
that.
they followed up with the emails after Andy and Lauren met with
Okay,
them.
but from those last emails we saw, there was no written communication back to them. So the story is that they're completely acceptable, as you mentioned to Commissioner Moriarty just a few moments ago, correct?
That's what they told us that day when me and Lauren met with them, yes.
Okay.
They would be happy with that resolution.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
I don't think that either resident would say that they would they wouldn't prefer to have it back, 8 feet, but, they were amicable to the 3 feet as a compromise,
Yes.
so.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Opposed?
Opposed?
So the vote is in favor with one opposing vote, that being Commissioner Moriarty.
Move to approve EPA's consent for property access for Huey Street in lieu of an encumbrance.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Move to approve the revisions to NRO Chapter 45, Article 4, Board of Public Works Retirement System.
Discussion? Commissioner Ackerman?
Certainly. Could we have maybe an editorial relative to this? There was a lot of legal jargon there. I just didn't know if there was commentary or available.
I don't know if Commissioner Tease wants to, he's on the board, or I can try to take a stab at it, although not completely. I think and correct me if I'm wrong, or do you want to?
Well, I was going to say that at a high level, I think there's some administrative changes. This is the most recent version that I saw on Monday of this week, right? So
Yes.
we're increasing the number of trustees to have representation from, and you'll tell me the,
One from AFSCME, one from UAW, and one from Merit, so that fully represents the division.
and,
And prior to that, it was only 2 representatives, which tended to not always be fair, because the street department's the largest department, so it would always be 2 people from the street department. This way, I think there'll be better representation amongst all of the groups within the division. I'm sorry, one other thing I should mention, Commissioner T, sorry,
No.
is prior to this, and I didn't know this until I started looking at this, because I haven't been very involved in the Public Works retirement system, but the language used to be that the Board of Public Works was supposed to appoint 2 people, and I guess that just never happened for whatever reason, and the 2 people were always elected by the employees of the division. So that is a change too. So those 3 people would be elected from within the each of the individual groups within the employer group.
There's a page at the end of the changes that kind of summarizes. If you go to the end of, page 16, if you will, of the actual statute. Is it like an Excel spreadsheet? But some of the changes included, for instance, retirees were receiving checks weekly, mailed. They've instituted a system now where it's going to be paid monthly in advance, and it's largely electronic. And again, lots of administrative changes. There's a firm, Hooker and Holcomb, that does a lot of the math and actuarial stuff that was recently done, so the burden is no longer on the staff at the city level. It's kind of an independent third party, and there's now a portal where retirees or employees can actually go on and see what their estimate is for pensions and so forth. It's an improved system. And I will commend Derek and Dave Fredette's office, who worked really hard in putting this together.
So the 5 trustees that are on the NRO board now are all in support of this, is that correct?
There were
4 voting members.
4 voting, because 1 fell off, but yes, it passed unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Any other discussion? Alderman Jettie?
So, I'm sorry that Attorney Bolton left So I found out when I became a member of the Board of Aldermen, one of my assignments by President McCarthy was as an alternate to the Board of Trustees. And, so I started going to meetings. The regular member appointed by the board is Alderman O'Brien. He also serves in the state legislature, so there were meetings where he couldn't go. So I was there alone, and then the question of the quorum came up. And, as I looked at the law, the ordinance provides the trustee representing the Board of Aldermen shall be nominated by the president and confirmed by the board. There is no provision for an alternate in the ordinance. And at the time, I talked to Attorney Bolton about that. And he confirmed that, yes, my status at the Board of Trustees was nice, but I could not constitute a quorum, I could not vote. So my purpose there was information only. I couldn't do anything. Now that I see that we are working on changing the ordinance, making changes to it, it comes up to my mind whether or not it's necessary to have an alternate, and if so, should the ordinance have some provision in there for the alternate being able to, the regular member can't be there, that there'd be a provision that the alternate can vote and constitute a quorum. You looking at me? You looking at me?
I don't know.
Look at me!
I think it's a great suggestion.
We have no one else to look at.
Well, am I, that could be included, I mean,
Yeah,
I suppose, why couldn't it?
it's a great suggestion.
You don't want to be status non gratis.
Did they miss a quorum when you were there?
No. No.
But certainly that could be a provision, that
Absolutely,
an
yeah.
alternate
I think the,
participates in lieu of the regular alderman if the regular alderman's not there.
the only danger in that, and not to suggest Alderman Jettie, a fine, reputable gentleman,
Would be a danger?
no, not to suggest it. No, but the only danger would be you have one alderman who votes a certain way and, do we then have alternates, I guess is what I'm saying. If I'm unable to make it, do we send Joel or Commissioner Ackerman, I'm sorry. I don't understand what
Good point.
I don't understand what the purpose is, other than it was a liaison. So if I was unable to attend, could a fellow commissioner come, garner the information, and come back and report? I mean, candidly, this is the first time that I've spoken on behalf of the pension here at this level. So in my mind, an alternate is someone that gathers information, goes back and reports, as opposed to as a substitute voter. With all due respect, and I respect what you're saying, because I happen to agree with what you said.
And, I guess the other thing I'm thinking of is, I think Alderman O'Brien's been to most of the meetings. If he misses one meeting, would the liaison really be up to speed and with the ability to really vote? You know what I mean?
Right.
Would they really understand what has been going on? Would they have enough information to be able to vote? I guess that would be another concern. Same with even the Board of Public Works, right? I don't know.
What's
Because
interesting,
that's a good point. If you couldn't be there, should another commissioner be, I don't know.
Well, the point would be a quorum. You
Right.
need, if you need that vote to have a quorum to have the meeting. So that's,
Yeah.
the interesting part is the treasurer, up until this potentially passing, was never a voting member.
Right.
And now the treasurer is always,
Will be,
is
too.
almost there every single meeting, so we kind of resolve that. But to Attorney Jettie's point, I mean, it's nice that he comes, but should we make his vote count?
Yeah.
Well, if I may follow up, with the addition, now you're gonna have 7. Before it was 5, now you have 7. So the chances, it was 5, and to constitute a quorum, you needed 3. now it's 7, and the quorum is going to be 4. The chances of missing the quorum are much less with more people. And I'm really not looking for the extra work. I've been kind of comfortable, once I found out that I really wasn't essential, I was kind of comfortable not going to the meetings, but
He's backpedaling.
The pay we make you a voting member. You know.
so the thought crossed my mind as I was looking at this and seeing all the changes.
All right. Well, we have pending before us. This still has to be enacted by the Board of Aldermen,
It
right?
does. It has to go to
so
the Board of
what this
Aldermen
is
still.
the recommendation to the
Right.
Board of Aldermen as to what changes should be made. I think someone made a motion, right, to approve this?
Yes.
Are there any other comments, discussion, proposed amendments, questions, anything?
So you won't feel alienated, Attorney, Alderman Jettie.
He doesn't have a vote here and he shows up every month. It's all good. It's all good.
All right, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item D.
We already took
Oh, we
that.
did item D, I'm
Yep.
sorry. We have the informational item of the February budget transfers, which is in the book. Then we have the director's report.
Okay. Diana, are we ready for the coaches report? Are we? Okay. The first slide you'll see is a sewer replacement at 101 Walnut Street.
They got in under the, they got in before the rule changes.
Yeah, get it in, huh? The sewer repair and lining continues on Kinsley Street. That work is being done by Newport. We are probably a month away from that work being complete. We did just learn, though, that Liberty has some additional work on Kinsley. So I don't have the full extent of that yet, but we're a little discouraged that they need to get back into Kinsley, because we're hoping to pave it early spring. We're doing a lot of brush cutting this winter. This slide is along the fence at Lincoln Park. The next picture is pruning trees at Greeley. We've done some winter equipment maintenance. These are just 2 trailers that received fresh paint and new floorboards. The mechanics are doing. Our Biddy basketball program has come to an end. We do have champions now. For the girls, the Spurs were the champions. For the boys, the Satellites, and for the juniors, the boys, the Sonics, and for the girls, the Lakers. So congratulations to those teams. We had our Celtics trip on February 28th. 60 people went, and it was sold out. All had a great time. The Nashua, you can see here the Nashua children on the floor at the Garden during the national anthem, so that was pretty cool. Verizon Wireless has asked to extend the light stanchion in the center field at Holman Stadium by 30 feet to improve cellular reception. Bill Mansfield from the police department is handling this, but I did want to let you know that there will be a meeting on April 18th at Amherst Street Elementary School for residents to come and provide input. So if anybody's interested in attending that meeting, I believe it's at 7 p.m. Yeah, 7
I'd
p.m.
be able to see that from my house.
In the school cafeteria. You might. It's, yeah. Yeah, it's going from 97 feet to 130 feet.
And this is the
So-
one that, this is one of the cellular.
No, I thought they were
Where
gonna change the
it might fall.
I
Which cellular tower?
It's on one of the lights at Holman.
Okay.
It already exists. It's just going from 97 feet to 130.
I'm just trying to
'Cause they
picture
don't have
where it
good
is. I guess
cellular
I
reception
didn't
in that
notice
area.
it.
Well, because it's, all the lights are about the same, so it kind of blends in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can't picture where it is. Okay.
Yeah,
Which is not a bad thing.
yeah. It will definitely be more noticeable.
It'll
having
increase
30 feet.
the Holman income. There'll
Yeah,
be more
that
money.
too. More money coming in. Again, this is more sewer repairs. There's on the left is an emergency, no, excuse me, a replacement on Verona. On the right is an emergency repair on C Street. Potholes and sinkholes are abundant right now. We've had 3 and 4 crews out every day filling potholes. This is a pothole on the left, the picture on Amherst Street. On the right is a sinkhole that we had. You probably saw us working at the intersection of Main and Alds. We did it actually last Sunday, and there was a connection that had failed to one of the pipes, so we repaired it, and all is well. Snow removal. Hopefully, this is the last picture you see of snow removal. We hope that it's over, although we've had that April Fool's storm now and again. But this is clearing snow at the Arlington Street Community Center, and also from on the right, the High Street Municipal Lot. The Boy Scouts toured the wastewater treatment facility on February 27th. We do a fair amount of these tours with kids, both at the landfill and at the wastewater treatment plant. And this was at part of getting their merit badge, so. We have been working on the gas expansion tank. This is part of the digester complex. The gas needed to be removed so that the tank could be entered and inspected, so that's what you're seeing there, is the removal of the gas. Our staff has been doing valve replacements at the facility. These are our wastewater mechanics, Doug and Greg. We received our new vacuum truck. We purchased a Vacon this time instead of a Vactor, so the staff spent a lot of time deciding exactly what we needed, and they spent a lot of time demoing it, so we're very excited. And as we get into our CMOM program and we start really doing extensive catch basin cleaning, this truck will come in very handy.
But
So.
do we still have the Vactor truck, or do we?
We
take
still
that
do have
out?
a Vactor, yes. We do have one, yes. We have 2. This one and the old one. Our SCADA replacement project is almost done at this point. That's how we, of course, communicate with the plant. We're doing some preventative maintenance. Here are crews entering the primary clarifiers to make chain adjustments. That's necessary to keep the tanks functioning properly. That's, I can assure you, is not a fun job. This is, we had a certification class. Hazen and Sawyer, who are one of the consultants that we work a lot with, we're training our collection crews and engineers and foremen on how to coat underground infrastructure and manholes as they take video for our CMOM program. So spring is here, finally. So soft yard waste collection begins the week of April 15th, which is coming very soon, as well as oversized items and metal collection. So residents can call the week of April 15th to schedule a pickup for the following week for oversized items and metal. And residents, as a reminder, are allowed 5 items for pickup per year.
And just to clarify, because I know we don't pick up sticks, so the oversized items are obviously oversized items, like, you know, the metals, we don't do TVs.
That's correct.
We don't do computers and that kind of thing,
Correct.
but.
No
since-
electronics, that's right.
Correct, but since we don't do sticks, if people want to bundle,
Yes.
forget, it's very difficult to bundle
If-
the stuff, so if people know about it.
So we have spring cleanup going on now, so this is a good time if you have sticks to get rid of, if you call the street department. But if you bundle the sticks, then we will pick them up
Is an
as
but you
part,
have
as
to
an
call
oversized
in.
item.
Okay.
Correct.
Don't put them in plastic bags.
Correct. No, please. Don't put anything but trash in plastic bags. And I think that's it. Is there any other questions or thoughts?
Comments, questions? If not, we'll go
Oh,
to.
I'm sorry, Mayor, may I mention one other thing?
Yeah.
You have in front of you an invitation, hopefully, to,
Yes.
Diane, may I have one of those, to Arbor Day? I didn't get one. So, this year, we're going to Broad Street Elementary on Friday, April 19th at 9:30. So if you certainly can make it, it's a great event. The kids love it, and it's a lot of fun, and they get to plant a tree at their school, and the mayor helps them. It's a lot of fun, so.
We got rained out last year.
Yeah, we were indoors, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes that happens, but it's a great event if you can. Alderman Jettie, did you get one?
Well, do alternates get?
Yes. You should have
Just can't
received,
vote.
you should have received an invitation through the Board of Aldermen, Alderman Jettie.
They don't get to get a shovel.
Sorry.
All right, commissioners' comments. Any comments from the commissioners?
Well, if Lauren Byer was still here, I'd tell her publicly that I think she does a wonderful job with the social media. I mean, just every time I open up Facebook, there's a clear, concise communication, and it's really relevant, so I'd just like the record to reflect that. And I wish
Thank
you were
you.
here.
Thank you, I will definitely pass that on. She is doing a great job.
Yep.
Mayor, if I have to go to a school building committee
Okay.
meeting, but before I go, I did want to say something that, I'm sorry that Superintendent LaFleur is not here. You know, we've just passed a bond issue of $6 million to build Phase 3 of the landfill. And I did get some calls, you know, expressing dismay over the amount of money. So I asked the director some questions about it, and Superintendent LaFleur provided some really valuable information. I think I find this really interesting, and I think everyone else will also. I asked about the $6 million, and if we didn't do Phase 3, you know, what would it, if we had someone else haul this stuff away like everybody else does, you know, what would it cost us? And so he said that Manchester, that ships it out, that they pay $68 per ton plus the equivalent of, what works out to be $10 more a ton for the trucking. So that's a total of $78 a ton to ship this out. And last year, we put 77,000 tons of trash into our landfill. So-
That would be trash and C and D, so everything, all in.
So if we, so I did some arithmetic, and, you know, at today's current rates, what Manchester is paying today, and that's not talking about what it may go up to next year or the year after, but based on today's numbers, that 77,000 tons would cost us $6,006,000. So the $6 million we would spend in 1 year, and we're spending $6 million for Phase 3, which is going to extend the landfill for another 10 years or more, but approximately 10 years. So when people say we're spending a lot of money, we would be spending a lot more if we didn't do Phase 3 and we weren't able, if we didn't have our own landfill. And that's assuming that the price wouldn't go up, which it probably will. And it's also assuming that there's going to be a landfill local in New Hampshire that this stuff can be sent to. So I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
And it you know, kind of, it's good information to provide people when they question the $6 million for Phase 3.
Appreciate that.
Mr. Chairman, I have another engagement I need to get to, and I don't think my absence will negatively impact the private session. I just wanted to ensure that nobody else is leaving, so I don't impact a quorum.
I'm leaving, but I'll walk out with you.
All right, thank you, Bill. Thank you. Any other commissioners' comments? All right. Is there a motion regarding, or excuse me, under personnel, there's item A.
Well, we gotta go into non.
Well, the first is the non-sealing.
I'll make a motion to unseal the non-public minutes for personnel from the Board of Public Works meeting on February 28th.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now is there a motion regarding the non-public session?
Yes.
He is gonna come and
I move by roll call that the board go into non-public session pursuant to RSA 91A3, Section 2B, the hiring of any person as a public employee.
And we have to approve that by roll call, correct?
Yes.
Could you please call the roll?
Mayor Donches?
Yes.
Commissioner Ackerman?
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas?
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty?
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna go into
I think,
non-public
is he gonna come
session.
get the mics before we, I think he's gonna come get the mics,
Why is he gonna do that?
Yes.
'Cause,
because he wants to go. We have this, and then we have another non-public.
all right. Is that a separate non-public?
Yeah,
We have to come out and back.
I think we don't do it because Frank.
Oh, we don't do it now? Well, Tim's already